Greetings, everyone, and thank you for joining this orientation class. Let me just put on my camera so that at least you can be able to see me. So, thank you for joining this orientation class on Advanced Power BI. So, I'll start by doing an introduction so that now from there we can now get into the Power BI itself. So, I'll give everyone an opportunity to just introduce themselves, their professional background, what you do as a profession, um, your interactions with Power BI, if you've interacted with it, or if it is the first time you're hearing about it, okay, your interaction with it, or if you've heard about the Power BI tool, and then what you expect from this program. If you're to join this program, what would be your expectations? Okay. So we are going to make this as interactive as possible so that we can be able to learn. Feel free to ask questions so that we can be able to interact and learn more about the product so that as we make decisions in enrolling, we're able to make informed decisions. Okay. So let me start with the introduction so that now I can give the opportunity to introduce yourself. So my name is Astiano Simon. You can call me Simon. I work with Doc and Data as the lead, as the senior consultant and lead trainer. So my day to day is to ensure that the programs that we deliver are of high quality with regards to content and also the trainers that we have. So thank you for joining again. Once again, thank you for joining. Maybe to talk about my background. My background is more of finance, data, and management. So I've been able to marry those two in terms of experience and also in terms of the skill set that I've acquired. I've worked in the industry uh, as a trainer for more than 12 years now, working with now the tools. For example, Excel, I've worked with it for the last 12 years plus. And this is continuously working with it on a day to day. I've handled projects across uh, the East African community and beyond. Um, I've been able to work with very big companies, blue chip companies, with regards to things like data migration, um, things like development of templates, and analysis of data and creation of dashboards, things like that. So this is an interesting session where we're going to interact to share more. I always say there's nobody is a custodian of knowledge. Nobody carries all the knowledge, so that's why these sessions are important so that we can share. Maybe there's something I might maybe I've not mentioned that you'd want to chip in and add. That would be of great importance. So in terms of using the Power BI tool, so I've trained it. Power BI started back in 2014. So 2014, then it was developed and launched in 2017, thereabout. So it has taken some time. It has had its own phases of growth. By 2020, 2022, that is when now it became a bit stable and people started using it. So for the last 3 years, it has become very, very, very stable. My first class, I did it back in 2021, 2022, 2021, after the COVID. That's when now I started now the training. That is after it had, stabilized. Right now, training from 2021 to now 2025, it has really, really improved. The good thing about Power BI, they keep on making it better. Okay. And the version will also auto update. And then another interesting thing, the desktop version is usually free. So you don't need to put in large chunks of money for you just to use the analysis tool. It is absolutely accessible for free. So that makes it, and it is actually the most powerful, okay, compared to other analytical tools. Then something else, it is user friendly. Microsoft products, From way back, if you look at something like Excel, Word, what makes them stand out is the user friendliness. Very interesting, very simplified interface. That is what makes them to stand out. Sorry, and that is what makes Power BI very special when it comes to data analysis or data analytics and also visualization. Okay, one of the things that I have enjoyed so much with Power BI, whether it is the training bit or the consultancy bit, it is the ability to visualize your data. Okay, to visualize your data. Then something that I see people even enjoying more is once you've created the reports, the visuals, the charts, the graphs, you might want, we are used to PowerPoint. So you might even, what Power BI does, it gives you the opportunity to now transfer those charts, those visualization to a PowerPoint presentation or a pitch deck. So once you run that PowerPoint presentation, all those filters and slicers also appear in the PowerPoint. So you don't even need to create so many slides. No, you just need to display one slide. Then you can use the filter to manipulate or drill through your data on one slide. So making it very interesting when it comes to uh, visualization. Okay, so uh, that is it. So I'll give people time to introduce themselves. Just your professional background, sorry, your name, your professional background, your expectation, sorry, your interaction first before your expectation, interaction with the product, if you've interacted with the tool, if you've used it for analysis, if not, also you can also mention you've not used it, and then your expectations. Expectations if you are to join such a program where you're learning this tool. And then that is it. And then in case you feel not comfortable, you're not in a position to introduce yourself, then you can use the chat box, take advantage of the chat box, share the insights, and we'll be able to read them out. So now, after those interaction and the introductions, now I think I can go straight directly to the Power BI tool. And to start us off, I would just want to launch the Power BI tool so that we can see how it looks like, that particular interface, because it is a very, very interesting tool. So let me display it so that we look at it briefly, and then we go to the course content, and then from there we can now be able to have the Q&A session and close this particular session. Okay. So let me just open. So I hope you can be able to see my screen. So once you open Power BI, that is now the Power BI interface. In class, I will show you how to install the software, the different kinds and types of Power BI, because we have the desktop version, we have the service version or the online version, we have the mobile version. You can even set it as a server, the server version. So they are different categories. And we are going to learn all of them. We're going to learn all of them. So looking at our interface, so that is the Power BI tool. I don't know if you can be able to hear me from your side. So I hope you can be able to hear me. Okay, let me proceed. So this is the interface, the Power BI interface. So this is a very blank Power BI interface. So what you normally do, because it is blank, because it is only the software that is running. There is no there's no report. We call them reports. So if I click on blank report, that is what it will create, the Power BI interface. So this is the actual Power BI interface. So you can see, as I had mentioned earlier on, it has a very simple interface. So the interface is easy to use. It is simple. I mean, the commands are very clear to look at. I mean, it is interesting. Okay. Now, quickly, I just want to show you what we expect when it comes to the usage, and how user friendliness they have made this tool. Now, one is the ribbon. You see, this is the old, the classic ribbon style for the Microsoft. You have Home tab, Insert, Modeling. In Home tab, this is actually where we are going to be spending almost 60% of our time here, because we have this command here, get data. So this is where now we connect to the data sources. And then another important one, once we connect to the data, remember, Power BI is not a data collection tool. It is not a data collection tool. It is a data analysis and visualization. So you connect it to data collection tools. It can be an Excel file that you are using to collect the data. It can be a tool like Open Data Kit. It can be the Kobo tool for data collection. It can be Google Forms that you're using for data collection, Microsoft Forms, or any other data collection tool. And the good thing is that there are more than 100 ways to connect to data. It can be a website, by the way. You can connect to an actual website. It can be a PDF file. If I click more here, you'll see this dialog box that has just appeared. I don't know if you can see the dialog box. Maybe it has not appeared. But once you click on more, you are able to see a huge number of ways that you can, if you click here more, you can see so many ways that you can connect to data sources. Okay. So a website that has a table, you can pull that data. A PDF file that is stored somewhere, you can pull that data. If you're using servers in your workplace, you can pull that data. Meaning you can get data from everywhere, and then put them together, then analyze them. Okay. So this is important. Normally we take like 2 weeks just to talk about data sources, data, like that. Then the other important one is this command here, transform. If there is a command that is interesting to use, is the transform data. This one, the first one, transform. Normally what it does, it takes you to what we call the Power Query editor. So the Power Query editor is a very popular tool that is actually in Excel. Excel has been there for a very long time, but people don't know the tools that it has. So in Excel, there's the Power Query editor, which is used for data cleaning, the advanced data cleaning. But now in Power BI, what they have done is to simplify the use of the Power Query editor. Okay, so the Power Query editor, you can split where numbers and text are combined. I mean, you can do so many things. Okay, I have so many things in my mind right now on how you can clean the data. I don't know which one I should even tell you, because there's another where you have maybe the first row does not have any content. You can use a command like use first rows. There's something like choose columns versus remove columns. There's choose rows versus remove rows. So these are two interesting techniques that are used. There's something we call pivoting and unpivoting data. So this is where one data has like subcategories. So you can clean data. You can, the word transform means to clean the data, to remove unwanted items, or to create new forms of data. Okay, or it can be to completely create new, or whatever you already have, you modify it. Okay, so you can remove, add, or modify. Okay, that is now what transform is, and that's where the word data cleaning comes into, falls into. Okay, so those two commands, get data, transform data, very interesting, very interesting. Okay, and here on this empty area, we call it the Canva. The Canva is now where we do our visuals. Okay, and when I say visuals, I'm not talking just about charts. I'm saying also with things like filters. If you're in project management, things like Gantt charts, you're able even to track the milestones in your project. Even in real time, in real time, you can be able to do that. Okay, The other thing is on the Canva, you can create multiple pages. You see here you have page one. You can create another page for the visual. Maybe you want to say analysis by category one. Page two, analysis by category two. You know that is the best practice in visualization, which we are going to learn in class. Some of the best practice when it comes to visualization. Okay, you have page one for the first visual. Maybe you want to talk about a certain city, analysis by this city, analysis by that city. So you want to do analysis by category. So you can have multiple pages for that. Okay, so that makes it even interesting and it organizes your work accordingly. Okay, something else interesting other than the Canva. So the Canva is where we spend the last few moments when we are working with Power BI. We'll spend that time here. Okay, that is the last thing that you're going to do in Power BI. Okay, and then there are other views other than the report view where the Canva is. We call this area the Canva because we are designing visuals. You know, the way artists will create the visuals, they normally have these blank papers. We call them Canva, where they can draw artistic items. So the same case, this is the Canva. Then we have the table view, where now all the data sets that we have attached to, they normally appear here in the table view. Okay. So tables, data sets, they're the same thing. When you say these are table, these are data set, there are two names that you can use interchangeably. But for me, I like to use the word data set because a data set has more meaning than the word table. A table can just be rows and columns, and that's it. But a data set is a unique table where data series are related. Okay, you have column A, age, their names. So if you're talking about registering farmers, you say these are the names of the farmers, their ages, their height, for example, their gender. So you see, these data series have a sort of like a relationship. Okay, so I like to call them data sets. Okay, I prefer that. And then there's the model view, where now you create the relationship between the data, because you see you can connect to a website, you connect to what else, you connect to a PDF document. So these data that you're connecting to, they must make sense. I mean, they have to be connected for you to analyze data from both of them or multiple items. So it gives you a very interesting, a simple view when it comes to modeling. Oh, by the way, in Excel, the model view, normally we use a tool called Power Pivot. So Power Pivot in Excel is now what is used for modeling. For Power BI, the model view will help you when it comes to uh, creating relationships between data sets. Okay, and then something interesting, the data analysis expressions view. Actually, the data analysis expressions view, this is an area that has been recently added. I think it was added like last year. Last year, end of last year, they added DAX. Or maybe start of this year. Okay, it was not there. So basically DAX as when you're analyzing data, once you have collected data, you've cleaned it, the next thing is to analyze it. And analyzing means you manipulate the data. Maybe you get the average, you get a sum, things like that. Or you multiply two data series. So DAX, when you say analysis expressions, is actually simply just functions. They're just functions, but now functions that you can even add comments, you can even put other characters. So it becomes an expression. It goes beyond a function and a formula. It becomes an expression. Okay, you can put a formula and then halfway you start explaining. Oh, by the up to here, this function will do 1, 2, 3. Then you continue with your function. Maybe it's a nested function. So there's an area. So there's a view called the DAX where you can use the Copilot to create analysis expression. Oh, and actually the reason as to why this view is here is because they've added Copilot. Copilot is a tool. It's an AI tool like ChatGPT, where you can ask it, hey, I want to compute 1, 2, 3. Help me out. So you can see here, use Copilot to explain, to explain DAX queries, like that. And then this one, TMDL review. This is extremely rich, and I mean new. I think right now we are in July of 2025. It has just been added. It has just been added. So the good thing about Power BI, they keep on adding new things to make Power BI interesting, and that is the essence of having tools that are simple to use, but you can be able to update them. So you can see this one. For example, last month I had taught a class. We only had the 4 views, but right now we have a new view. Okay, and the good thing, in case something comes up, they normally have Microsoft Learn, where you can also go and add more information. Okay, I'll talk more about uh, content in a few. Okay, so there are a number of views that are here, and you can see here these are scripts. So meaning you can write a language here. Okay, let me go back to the report view so that you can see the commands. So we have home tab, but I've said in home tab, data, get data, and transform. That is where we are going to spend most of the time. Because look at on your right, we have the visualizations, the charts, what else? The charts, the filters. Uh, it can be Python. You use Python to create visuals. You can import them, and you can even add more visuals here. Get more visuals. You can actually go and buy visualizations. If I click here, you can say here, if you click these 3 buttons, you'll see add more visuals, import a visual from a file. I mean, you can make it is very flexible. Okay. Oh, something interesting that I saw in Power BI is the ability to uh, have a pie chart that has 2 data series. Maybe that is something to go and explore. A normal pie chart in Excel only has 1 data series, and then of course the categorization. Okay, for example, you have gender, male, female, and then male you have a number, female you have a number. So you see, the categorization is male, female, and then there is the now we are going to plot in our pie chart the number of the female versus the number of the males in our pie chart. In Power BI, you can do that, but you can also have 2 different data series. You can have gender, male, female, and their data, then have another variable again. So that other variable is the data series, and then have that another kind of data, maybe education. So you can compare education and gender in one pie chart. So you take gender, number of participants, for example, and the education level, and then you put it together in one pie chart. So that is something interesting, using 2 data series in one pie chart. So enough about the tool. I think this is what we're going to get into class. We're going to go into the detail one by one. Interesting things. What I want us to do, I want us to go into the course content or the program content. We see what is it that we are able to learn as we move forward. I don't know if up to there's a question. Feel free to ask any question. You can use the chat box to be able to ask any question. Feel free to ask any question. Use the chat box. So thank you for those questions. I think it is good. At least you are able to understand. At least I'm seeing people have interest. For example, somebody has asked, what is the purpose of the Copilot? Okay, so right now when you talk about analysis or data analytics, you talk about what we call descriptive analytics. Descriptive, they're just looking at the historical data and they try to describe how the data is. Then we have a diagnostic. We try to analyze and find out why things happen the way they did. And then now we can have predictive. and prescriptive, predictive to predict. So that is now the forecasting, and then we have prescriptive to prescribe answers. And that is the work of the Copilot here. It can do the last two items, which is to help you with, in terms of prescribing, for example, the analysis expressions that can be used. Okay, so anyway, that is the Power BI interface. It is interesting. There are a million things here that we need to do. And as I had mentioned earlier on, our Power BI is interesting because we are calling it Advanced Power BI. And as much as we're calling it Advanced Power BI, we start from the most basic items. Okay. The reason why we are calling it advanced is it is because people have already used Excel. If you've used Excel before, this is now like just advancing your skills. So we will start from the basic, then we go up to the last item in Power BI. So that is from connecting to data up to the creating of what we call paginated reports in Power BI service. We take that entire journey. Okay, we take that entire journey together. So it is advanced. We start from the basic up to the advanced. From zero, like you get into a class of Power BI, you have zero knowledge. Then we start from there up to the most advanced item. So this is the interface. Interesting. We will see how to install the software in your desktop, in your mobile phone. We are going to see how to work with the workspaces and to connect all these. So it is a very interesting software. I actually, the first time I looked at Power BI, I thought it looks so messed up for the first time. You see filters here, metadata here, I don't know, some icons here and there, and it might look confused. But the moment you start using it, you start, you start seeing the sense in each and every item. Okay, especially where they are positioned. If you've ever analyzed data using Excel, maybe you've created like a pie chart, table chart like that, or bar chart. When you use Power BI, then you start seeing, oh, so this is how you create a pie chart. You just drag things here and that's it. There's no selecting that and no, you just drag. Interesting. So let me take you now through the course outline so that you can see how to, what you're going to cover and how it is going to be of benefit to us. I've seen we have people from diverse fields, finance, electrical engineering, and so many other fields. So, this shows us that data is not just for IT people. No. Provided you work with reports, at some point you want to understand how things are moving, data is important. Okay. It is not just an enhancement skill to enhance your CV or your career. It is a specialty program which makes your work better. Okay, which makes your work better. So let us see how to go through to the course content. So if you want to go to the course content, navigate to our website. Let me share the website so that I can demonstrate this. So just go to our website. That is just a minute. So I hope you can see my screen. Doc and data. Go to our website. Then where we have training at the top here, training, click on training. So under training, if you scroll down, you'll see we have two categories. Let me just scroll down. So we have three categories under our training. We have document, records, and management programs. So these are training programs that are associated with management, documents, digitization, creating of documents, because that is where we are heading. We are trying to digitize documents so that you can even sign an invoice, virtually. Okay, you don't need to be at the office to sign something. So that is the training in that area. Then we have career growth and development programs. And then we have data management and digital literacy. So under data management and digital literacy, this is where we have the data analytics programs, data analysis program. So if you open it, you can see we have different programs: data science, research and data analysis, analytics. We have data protection, something very interesting currently. If you scroll down, we have the intermediate, and then up to here, you'll see now the Power BI. Okay, the Power BI. So this product. So this is what we are looking at. So if you click on Advanced Power BI, just click on it once. Good. So what you'll find is a description of the Power BI, just a brief description. Then when you scroll down, even further, you'll find now more details about the program. Again, continue scrolling down. Whatever these things we're going to cover in brief. Then now we have the training program outline. So in red, what is in red there? Training program outline. So there's a link here that will take you to the training content. So let me click on it, we see. Good. So that is the training program outline. Let me just expand it a bit. So this is the Advanced Power BI training program outline. So I hope you can be able to see it. So at Doc and Data, what we do, we have 3 classes every week. That is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or it can be Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Okay, those are evening classes, either 6 to 8 or 8 to 10 p.m. So we have those two. So our belief is, you cannot study on a daily basis, Monday, Tuesday, no, that is going to be too much. But if you do for 3 days, just a 2-hour session, a very practical, highly practical and insightful and applicable session for 2 hours in a day, and you do like 3 sessions in a week, that is enough. That is enough new knowledge to practice now for the rest of the week. So that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you do session 1, session 2, session 3. Okay? So part 1 will mean like 1 week. Part 1 is like 1 week, or week 1. So session 1 maybe Monday, session 2 Tuesday, session 3 Wednesday. So that is 8 to 10, 8 to 10, 8 to 10. Okay. Then now from Thursday, you have enough time to practice what we have learned. Practice what we have learned. So that by the time we go to the other week, which is now part 2, you have already practiced. If maybe, for example, you have some things you want to ask the trainer, you can ask them. Okay, you remember, here we have the way we do it is not the teaching. We are not teaching, we are training. We are training the skills. So we have to ensure that you understand the skills. So when we say applicable, it means we are going to use the practice files, which are practical. I mean, materials that we have gotten from the industry through our consultancies. So we replicate that in class. And then sometimes you also have your own files, maybe Excel files, some other sources that you do analysis on. So you can also bring that and on the side. So that is now Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. On the side, you can meet with the consultant or the expert, and you work on it together for free. I mean, the consultancies are free. Outside classes, they are free. Okay, so that makes it even interesting. Okay, so that is the essence of having session 1, 2, 3, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then we have another time for practice. And you can see after every session 3, that is now the Wednesdays or maybe the Saturdays after the third day, we have practice files, case studies, reviews, and takeaways. So meaning after every week, after the last session of the week, we have some files that we give out for you to manipulate. Practical files, things that we have come across, something that maybe I've gotten a contract and I was told, hey, by the way, our data looks like this, transform it and then provide it back to us. We need to try to put it in another system. So a problem like that. Or sometimes I've been given a file by a company or an individual and they tell me, no, you know what, take this, I want you to transform for me or manipulate and then give it back. So sometimes the problems are so complex and it takes us even weeks to crack. So once we crack and find the solution, that is now what we have built over the years as practice files, and we're able to share so that it takes you a shorter time to um, be able to crack and learn the new skills. So that is how we do it, and that is the importance of now having only 3 sessions per week. They are not too much, they're not too little. Okay. Now, so for the Power BI, it is going to be 8 weeks. 8 weeks. Okay. But we will ensure we take you slowly as we advance to make it very, very interesting. Now, let us go to the content itself. Let us go to the content. Now, the way we organize our content, it is not just out of out of thinking very fast and putting content together for the purpose for commercial reasons. No, because we have been teachers, trainers for a very long time, we understand how learning takes place. Actually, the method that I prefer to use is what we call known to unknown. Moving from known to unknown, something that you already know, then we move to what you may not know. Okay, moving from known to unknown. Okay, for example, you know how to open a software, you know how to key in data. So maybe I'll show you how to key in the data, then I can show you how to now duplicate the data very fast. Instead of keying in manually, how to duplicate it very fast. Okay, so we will go through that process of known, what you already know, and then we try to build that knowledge. Remember, Power BI also borrows heavily from other Microsoft tools like Excel, Access, and other tools. So it makes it very, very interesting. Now, let us look at what we will cover in first week. Now, first week, we will talk about data analytics. My assumption is that because we are starting from zero, I will not assume that you know data analytics. As much as we are looking at the tool itself, it is good. We go and look at what? The terms. We will look at what business intelligence is, data intelligence. What is the purpose of Power BI? Where do you use it? Is it only at your workspace? If today you've been promoted to a project manager, do you continue still using it? Yes, because it's a powerful tool. Okay, so those are some of the things we're going to cover in session 1. Session 2 also just opening up the interface, like what we've just done briefly, looking at the interface, but now we'll get deeper into that. We look at the different Power BI platforms. There are new things in Power BI, the Power platforms, Power Pivot. We will look at the new things that are there. Then now we'll narrow down into Power BI Desktop. So by the second day, we'll have installed the software, and now we'll be looking at the interface and understanding how work flows. And something else, settings. Power BI has some serious settings. We normally have what we call global settings and specific file settings. They have a name, but I know the first one is global settings for the general application. Then we have the specific file settings. So the file that you've opened, you can also put the settings there. So we look at small interesting key things like those ones that you should not miss in the first point. Then of importance, on the third session, we will look at where did this Power BI came from. We have Excel, and I had even mentioned that in Excel we have Power Query for data cleaning, we have Power Pivot for modeling. So it means with Excel you can do everything. But is that the case? Why is it that people are transitioning from, or not a transition, why are people upgrading their skills from not only having Excel, but to also having more skills in Power BI? Why? So we need to see the origin. We see Excel from 1984. What has happened? What has happened over the years up to 2014, whereby now Power BI came up? What was the reason? What is the background to these tool? Okay, what are add-ins in Excel that maybe brought out Power BI? What are some of the developments in Power BI? What is happening currently? So that you can be able, once you're using a tool, you know what tool you're using. how it functions, where it came from. These are critical information that you need to have. These are the insights. Okay. Okay. That will be part one or week one. So part two. Now part two, we will move into connecting to data sources. So we have very many sources of data from websites, and there are so many techniques of connecting, importing, creating connection to servers. Big organizations, of course, we have servers, different types of server or databases where, if it is a system, of course, the data goes to a certain server. So we may want to tap into the data. Maybe the organization has a website that brings in data. You may want to tap from that. Maybe there are reports that you get in Excel. So you may want to connect all these places and analyze your data in real time. So part two or the second week, that will be our focus, to look at ways of connecting uh, to data. Okay, the ways of connecting to data. So that will be part two. So that one, by the time we are reaching part two, will be halfway of. No, we have done what, a quarter of it. So there's a lot. Part three, interesting. This is one of my interesting area, because the reason as to why I'm saying part three is interesting is because we have this thing called Power Query. Power Query is the tool that is used for data cleaning, and it has been there, by the way. It has been there for a very long time. It has been there in advanced in Excel, by the way, but people don't know about it. So it is now that Power BI is coming up, that and the need for data cleaning, that is bringing these a need for people to understand even deeper tools for data cleaning. Okay, so we'll focus that week on data transformation. Data transformation. Okay, and of course data cleaning. So they all go hand in hand. So important. If you see part three, the first session, exploring Power Query interface. So we will also go back a bit to Excel so that we show you where Power Query is. Remember, at the end of the day, is to just be able to solve the problems that we have. So even data cleaning, we will, as much as we are focusing on Power BI, we'll show you where it is in data in Excel. Okay, in Excel. Okay, so that maybe if you do not have Power BI, or you have not accessed Power BI, you can still clean your data in Excel. Okay, but we'll show you the difference between cleaning in Excel and cleaning in Power BI. So the two different softwares, Excel, Power BI, but similar tool, but one is easy to use when it comes to cleaning because of how it has been configured in Power BI, but the one in Excel, the same tool, but configured differently. So we will look at those. Those are the insights, key things. And you can see in session 2 and 3, these two, session 2 and 3, these two here, in under part 3, we have data transformation. Data transformation, we are going to explore a lot. Now, if I move to part 4 and part 5, now the analysis starts. So if you're a fan of analyzing, manipulating data, this is now your area. So for 2 weeks, 2 good weeks, we are going to do analysis. And you're going to be focusing on the data analysis expressions. So as I had started, when I started, I said, these are like functions, but they're not the usual functions. They're actually, let me call them formulas, because they can have functions inside them. But again, you cannot call them formulas because they can go beyond that. You can have other items inside that formula. And that's why we're calling them expressions. We are calling them what? Expressions, because they are formulas where you can put in functions. You can even put comments and write, comments about your analysis. So they are interesting. They are very interesting. Yeah? DAX in this case are the functions. So these are like the advanced ways of using the functions, and they work in very interesting way. They work in very interesting ways. But of course, we'll make sure we start from the simplest count. And you can see by there some of the functions that are here. These are functions, or we call them DAX now. Today function, product, sum, count. These are just the normal functions that you normally find in Excel. But they work a bit different. They work differently. Power BI is a data analysis tool. So it works with the database. In Excel, we work with the worksheet. So we can add two cells. In Power BI, we consider the entire column when it comes to working. So there's a difference, there's a bit of a difference when it comes to working with a data analysis expression. So by the time we are finished with this, we'll have learned a lot. Something that is very interesting is this one. Part 5, first session, time intelligence functions. This is something that you can't find that easily in other tools. Time intelligence functions. So they really help you to understand. You can compare this year to that year. There's something we call auto-date. Auto-date is where you create a calendar. Yes, we call it auto calendar. So you can transform a table and make it a calendar. Okay, or you can create a calendar in your Power BI, a custom calendar, so that all the data that is in your Power BI or that is connected to your Power BI can be linked to that calendar, and you can use that calendar to do different analysis from this year to that year, like that. Okay. And then so session 2, 3, again, more and more functions and calculations. Okay. Something we call the filter functions. Very interesting. I mean, it is interesting. You can also nest functions here. Nesting of functions happens here. Actually, this is where nesting happens at its best. Leave alone Excel. This is where nesting of functions. Go and check what nesting of function is. This is where nesting of functions and expressions works at its best. Sometimes they are so complex, you have to use that Copilot to guide you a bit. There's something we call quick measures. Quick measures are some of the tools. Even if you're not that good with the functions, and you can use quick measures to learn how to use the functions. Very interesting. So there are two small interesting items. So for 2 weeks, we will focus on analysis so that we have enough time to practice. Part 6. So part 6, the entire part 6, we are going to be looking at creating relationships. Creating relationships. If you can remember the Power BI interface, there's somewhere I talked about model view. So that is where we'll spend more time within the tables. Something interesting here, done in bold. Part 6, the second session, row level security in Power BI, RLS. So the RLS is something that can be used to control what someone can see and what someone cannot see. So we normally set the RLS in Power BI desktop, and then once we publish for people to access, so it is like you're setting this data I want person A to see, and then the other data they will not see any other data. That person I want them to see this line of data. So if you have maybe line managers, for example, you have data from Nairobi, Kisumu, like that, you can have one manager only seeing data from Nairobi, another line manager for Nakuru only seeing data from Nakuru. Okay, so we call it RLS, row level security. So those are some of the things we are going to try and to practice in class. So you normally set RLS in your desktop, and then you effect it when you're publishing or accessing. And then some other things about the column, which are very interesting. Profiling data, creating hierarchies, very, very interesting things that will really, really enhance your data. For example, hierarchies, creating hierarchies. Let me not miss saying this. Creating hierarchies is where you create relationship between different lines or different data series. I'm going to talk about data series in class. What are data series? What are data sets? What are data records? All those definitions as we move forward. So when you're creating hierarchies, it is different data series being able to work together. For example, counties and sub-counties. So you can say counties, the sub-counties will fall under the counties. Okay, the sub-counties will fall under the counties. So you can create hierarchies like that, so that when you're analyzing data, if it is one county, you can drill through. You can say this county, these are the sub-counties. This sub-county under this main county, these are the maybe wards or constituencies, or then you go to words, so you can be able to drill through. And of course that can also be used in your presentation. You can showcase your presentation as you drill through. And then so that will be the 6th week. The 7th week, and remember, each and every week we have a practice file, or it can be one project that we enhance by trying different things. Part 7, that one week we'll focus on visualization, maps, KPIs, Gantt charts, Q&As, combo charts, bar charts, all of them. Okay, enhancing the visualization, working with colors, understanding colors, not putting just red, green, blue, anyhowly, until your presentations looks like a rainbow. No. How do you manage colors and color coding when it comes to creating visualization? Some of the best practice when it comes to visualization. People think when you want to impress others, you put visualization charts moving up and down. That is not really the essence of visualization. Simple, minimal visualizations are the key. Something simple that you can explain. That's why Power BI has page 1, page 2, page 3 in the report view. So that page 1, you can create one visualization, talk about one item. Page 2, another item, like that. Okay. So week 6, sorry, that is week 7, which is part 7. That is what we're going to talk about. Dashboards, workspaces, like that. Filters and other visualization are very important here. Slicers, tooltips, and so many other things that you're going to look at. And then part 8, we'll proceed. We will continue with the dashboards, the settings and such. We look at the reports. So by the time we are reaching part 8, we will have moved to the Power BI service. Okay, we'll have moved to the Power BI service. So that is the virtual or the online or the cloud Power BI application. Okay, Power BI from definition, it is a collection of applications, connecting tools, and other items. So it is a connection of so many tools. So one of them is the Power BI service, which is an online one that is now used for paginated reports, dashboards, like that, and also sharing. So that is what we'll do in part 8. We'll start with that. Then how to share the reports with people, those paginated reports or the dashboards, that you've created. How do you share with them? How can people access them on your mobile phone? You can be running a very big company, okay, and you get data from all those branches and you connect them to form just one visualization. So line managers have their own access, and then you just have 1 or 2 visualizations. One on revenue, one on collection, another one on performance. That's it, just a few on your mobile phone, on your smartphone, so that you can see updates in real time. Okay, in real time. So that sharing and refreshing of dashboards is important. And then, of course, we'll introduce us to storytelling in Power BI. It is important because once we have this visualization, we need to tell the story behind the visualization. Okay, and then lastly, of course, we need to have a discussion on what is trending in Power BI, the tools, and so much. So that is what we are going to cover in Power BI in terms of the content. So you can reach out. Make sure you just go to the website. This is the website. You can access it, look at it, so that it helps you to make the decision. Okay. So I think up to there, we can stop up to there. I hope with this, I'll be able to meet you in class and have more engagements. If you have any question, let me know. You can use the chat box or you can be able to ask. Otherwise, I hope to see you in class. Let us interact. Let us gain more knowledge as we become pros in data analysis in a friendly way. Okay. So we have the next upcoming class scheduled. Reach out to our executive. They'll be able to share more details. I know you have been already talking, so reach out to them. Let us have the discussion. Then you can join. In case you want to speak to a consultant, either me or any other consultant that have done the presentation, you can request for that over the call. Maybe there's some clarity you want to get. Maybe it's a specific area that you want to see if Power BI will apply. Let us know. So thank you for that. Let us meet in class. Any question? Let us meet in class.